So you're thinking of moving to Patterson, California, but maybe you're not super familiar with the area and you want to know the best and the worst things about living there. So today we're going to go over some of the top pros and top cons of living in Patterson so you know exactly what to expect if you do move there. If this is your first time to the channel, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and tap that bell for notifications so you can be the first one updated about the Central Valley real estate market. Hi, I'm Alex. I'm a realtor based out of Charlotte, California, and I get calls from people just like you every single day looking to make a move here to the Valley. So whether you're moving in 1 month or a year from now, feel free to reach out to me and we can go over through Zoom call, phone, or email exactly what it is that you're looking for. If you're not familiar where Patterson is, and to be honest, a lot of people aren't, it's located in Stanislaus County in the Central Valley of California. If you're looking on a map, it's right between Highway 33 and the I-5. Now, the I-5 will take you all the way from Northern to Southern California, so it is a major freeway that we have here in California. Now, Patterson has a population of 24,300. It's been growing pretty significantly in the past couple decades, and it's also known as the apricot capital of the world. So if you like apricots, might be a good place for you. So first, we're going to talk about some of the major pros of living in Patterson, so you know the upsides first, and then we'll get to the cons. And the first one is it's a very commuter-friendly city. Patterson has a lot of commuters that live there because it has a very convenient location to get to the Bay Area and other highly commutable spots. Like I mentioned, it sits right off the I-5, so it's super easy to just jump on that and go straight either to Northern or Southern California. It's very easy, especially when people are commuting either to Tracy, Livermore, parts of the Bay Area, South Bay. And while the drive isn't exactly short, it's very predictable, it's very straightforward. And a lot of people choose to live in Patterson so they have a cheaper cost of living versus living in some of these more expensive areas, but they're still making the money of living in those expensive areas. Now, the next pro is there's been a lot of new developments in Patterson. So there's a lot of new build homes. So if you like new construction, you like modern, or even if you're just not into a lot of maintenance, you want something move-in ready, there's a lot of options here in Patterson. So a lot of them were built either in the early 2000s or even later. There's currently in 2025 a lot of new subdivisions coming up in Patterson. And these new neighborhoods are really nice. They have the wide streets, a lot of trees being planted, a lot of underground utilities too, so you don't see those power lines hanging above your head. A lot of parks, trails, walking paths. It's just everything you could be looking for in the area. So a lot of these new developments are just super nice. Like I've said, turnkey, move-in ready, great option for you if, like me, you don't like maintenance on a home. Now, another pro to living in Patterson is one that's not as commonly thought of, and it's some of the outdoor activities. Because of Patterson's location, it actually has access to quite a few different parks and regional areas. So one of them is the Frank Raines Regional Park, and that's tucked into the hills of Western Patterson, about, I want to say 30 minutes or so out. And it's really great for camping, hiking, and off-roading if you're into cars and off-roading vehicles. It also has picnic areas and really just scenic views. So it's really good either weekend trip if you like to camp or just a day trip. Now we also have the Del Puerto Canyon, and that's pretty quick drive just west of town as well. It's a very scenic canyon that has hiking, biking, again, off-roading opportunities, very similar to the first one. And it really is kind of a favorite for locals around here who just want to escape to nature for a little bit or just want to take a little walk. And then a third one I want to talk about is the San Luis Reservoir, and that's about a 45 to 60 minute drive from Patterson. That one actually is more of a lake, so it's great for boating, fishing, or just swimming, spending the day near the water. So if you want to do picnics, make a day trip out of it, this is a really great location. Now, Patterson also is conveniently located to, if you want to go on further either weekend getaways or day trips. As mentioned, it's really close to the Bay Area, like Santa Cruz, coastal areas as well. And if you go in the opposite direction, you can get to national parks like Yosemite. Now, the last part I'm going to talk about is one of the main ones, and it's the lower cost of living here. As I mentioned, it's a very commuter-friendly town, so we have a lot of people that get to work in the Bay Area or near the Bay and make more money, but then commute back home at the end of the day and get to experience a lower cost of living and cheaper home prices. So if you are looking to buy a home in Patterson, currently the median home price is $427,000 and the median monthly rent is about $1,400 a month. Now, if you are a family, you can expect to spend about $7,800 a month in order to live comfortably here. And if you are a single person, you can expect to spend about $4,300 a month. And if you are single, just paying for yourself, this is actually 8.4% less expensive to live in Patterson compared to the national average. Now, of course, Patterson, it is a city in California, so it does have a bit higher cost of living than the rest of the national average. But compared to the rest of California, it's actually 22.4% more affordable to live here. Now, I didn't forget about the cons. We're going to go over 4 of the biggest cons in my opinion. And the first time, kind of going off that commuter-friendly area, is that you do have pretty big commute times. A lot of people work out of the area and they spend a lot of time throughout the work week traveling. And on average, people usually spend, if they're going to Tracy, about 30 minutes driving. Livermore, about 50 to 2 minutes to an hour. San Jose, Bay Area, you're looking at an hour and a half to 2 hour commute one way, depending on traffic. Now, this is very dependent on the hour that you're going. So if you're going during rush hour, typical 9 to 5 hours, you're going to hit a lot of traffic. But if you maybe either work night shift or on just not the normal 9 to 5 schedule, this is going to be a much better commute for you. At the same time too, there is very limited public transportation options in Patterson. There's not a direct train service like the BART or the ACE train that some of these Bay Area cities do have from Patterson. So most people have to rely on having a car. If you don't have a car, it's pretty hard for you to get to the Bay Area to commute. Fortunately, since COVID, we have had a lot more work from home opportunities, so people are taking advantage of that. But the commute is definitely a killer for some of these people. Now, the next con, like a lot of Central Valley small towns, is there's very few entertainment options. Small town usually equals limited nightlife. You're not going to go find these big clubs or bars or places open till 2 a.m. A lot of places close earlier, around to 10 or 11. There are some local restaurants that people in the town absolutely love. I definitely recommend trying out some of them because they're really delicious, but it's just not a huge variety or even a lot of different types of food. Same thing with local events. The local events, when they do have them in Patterson, are a lot of fun. As I mentioned, there's the Apricot Fiesta every year. That's a huge festival with lots of vendors and different events for people of all ages. But that's a one-time a year event. It's not like we have events like this going on every single weekend. So the local events are fun. If they are having them, definitely recommend checking those out and going and participating in them. But don't expect to find that every single weekend. Now, another con, which is kind of specific to Patterson here, is there's very limited medical facilities. Patterson's a little bit further out of Stanislaus County. Even though it's considered in the county, it is one of the more farther away towns out of all of them. So there's no major hospitals in Patterson. And if you do have to go to the hospital, the closest major ones are in Modesto or Turlock, and that's going to be at least a 30-minute drive. So if you do have someone in your family that you are concerned about having to frequent the hospital or need specialist care, you may be better off in finding a closer city such as Turlock or Modesto if you want to be nearby those facilities. Now, they do have small clinics and urgent cares, and those are great for smaller incidents, just minor things that you don't need a full ER trip for. But again, if you have someone in your family that you are just concerned about that, I would recommend contacting me. We can talk about where you'd be better off closer to those facilities. Now, this last one is very California specific, and it is Mello-Roos Tax. Patterson has a lot of homes that have Mello-Roos Tax because they are newer subdivisions. Now, if you're not familiar with Mello-Roos, it's essentially an additional tax added onto your property taxes that help fund local infrastructure. Especially in these newer developments, it helps fund the road construction, maybe new schools going up, parks, anything that is for the local community in that area. You're going to have to pay for it. And the thing with these Mello-Roos is they usually have a certain amount of years that they're valid for, sometimes up to 30 years you're paying for it, but they can be extended. So maybe you think, hey, I bought this home, it's on the 25th year, I'm only going to be paying Mello-Roos for a few more years. The reality of it is the city can vote and choose to extend it. So don't expect it to be a definite cutoff date. Now, if you are looking for a home that doesn't have Mello-Roos tax, you're better off in Patterson looking at the older homes in the downtown or near downtown area. Those don't have Mello-Roos because they've just been so well established. But if you are buying in a new community, I can nearly guarantee that you're going to have that tax, which can add on a few thousand extra dollars to you every year. So if you are working with a realtor, make sure they check into that because you don't want to be stuck with this huge property tax bill and not being expecting it. So those are, in my opinion, the main pros and the main cons to living in Patterson. If you are local though, or have lived there, I would love to hear in the comments what your biggest upsides and biggest downsides are. Just like any town, there's going to be pros and going to be cons. I just want you to be aware of them before making a move there. And if you are looking to make a move to Patterson or any of the surrounding areas, feel free to book a Zoom call with me, send me a text or shoot me an email, and I'd be happy to sit down with you to go over exactly what it is that you're looking for and maybe discuss some of your different options. Till next time, I hope to show you around the valley.